Hello, hello, and welcome back to Both Sides of the Mic, the real his and hers, unfiltered. No scripted bullshit, no polish bullshit, just a relationship podcast. And this is where we tell the truth that a lot of people are scared to talk about. Okay. Love, marriage, conflict, life, intimacy, faith, ego, healing, stuff that actually happens behind closed doors when the Instagram filter is coming off. Okay. You look who my co-host is today. Will is back, same man. He's in the same marriage. We don't have a new ex-wife. I'm so happy about that. Although I'm about to tell you guys something that might change that. You know, we're here for this. And this isn't a how to be perfect podcast, you guys. This is just a how to be honest podcast. We're not here to posture or perform or pretend like either of us have it all figured out. We just want to show you what it looks like to work it out in real time from both sides of the mic. So if you're married, dating, rebuilding, healing, questioning, or just trying not to lose your fucking mind while loving another human, you're in the right place. Before we get into today's conversation, I have to acknowledge something. Will's wife is recovering from surgery today. So we're a day late on the episode. Thanks you guys for your patience because I know Will has a lot of shit going on today, and I still invaded his time and his space. So I just appreciate you guys listening and him being willing to sacrifice this here. Um, but so I wanted to to say this podcast is really just I want to talk about kind of ego stuff, right? That,
Mm.
how you guys you're not enemies. And I've talked a lot about ego this week in my other podcasts, in my Listen Bitch podcast. Um, that's what I've talked about. But Will here, okay, his wife is recovering from the surgery. And I was like, this is definitely a great example of how to not be enemies because he's sacrificing to take care of her. And then I just saw her post like before I started recording some TikTok promotions. Um, I don't know if they're really on the same team because, here's the thing, right? Life gets heavy. Like there's no scorekeeping, there's no ego, there's no enemies in your relationship. It's just about showing up. They're taking care of each other. Um, and she can trust that in him, right? Relationship isn't about winning arguments and it's in sickness and in health. Will let his wife faceplant in the kitchen last night. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know
Uh,
what to say about that. Hi, Will. Welcome to the show. You didn't see
oh,
that one
hey,
coming.
I'm just trying to cash in on that insurance money.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh. No. Okay. Uh, first, it's good to be back. I'm sorry that I missed last week. We went to a conference over in Colorado Springs, Colorado, your neck of the woods over there.
Yeah.
It was all right. It wasn't too bad. You'll like this. Our last Uber driver was a furry. He preferred to be on all
No,
fours.
sir. I hate Colorado. Yeah, let's stop telling people I'm from there. That is not my neck of the woods. You guys can keep your shit. I thought Michigan was bad. Mm-mm. No.
Yeah. So yeah, we got to experience that, and it was very pleasant. It was very pleasant. So that was fun. But then of course,
Is
Jenny
that
had foot.
real? Was he doing it just to be funny? Like, was that real?
No, he no.
There's no fucking way I would get in the car with someone that is that fucking mentally ill.
Well, when you're already in, you're already
Oh
in.
my God. Oh my
And then
God.
I'm checking everything out, and he had like his name was like Skittle, and I was
Oh,
like,
stop it.
and I said, hey, where does that name come from? And he said, well, that's my chosen name. And I said, oh, I said, so that's the name you were born with? And he said, no, that's the name I chose because the name that was given me by my parents didn't reflect my gender. And
Oh my
oh,
God.
okay, I got you. So
So Skittle reflects its
his
gender.
gender, yeah, he
Yeah.
prefers to be on all fours because he gets satisfaction out of it.
Wow.
And I said, well, over here's our gate where we can get right into our
Yeah.
hotel.
Get
So
me the
go ahead and
fuck
let
out of
us
this
know.
car. You just gave me
So
some great content for my political podcast because I am going to bring this up over there because I cannot believe that is real.
he needs mental help.
Oh
But
my God.
but then yesterday, of course, we had I had surgery on Monday to have some things taken care of because and I did post this on Facebook. I'm 48 years old. I had never gone in for a colonoscopy for it to be done for, health, like men and women. And when I went in earlier this year, they found something. They did test it, and it was precancerous.
Yeah.
And so they had removed it. So I had to go back in 6 months later, which was Monday, and everything's good. But that's honestly Monday is when I found out that it was precancerous. I didn't know anything was. They
Yeah.
didn't tell me anything. So,
Yeah.
so I have to go back in 3 years, and they said you look good. So that's thank God for that.
I am glad
Um,
you're okay. And
yeah,
I'll
that's
keep my anti-pharma and my medical opinions to myself right now because
thank you.
health is a fucking business, but I am glad you're
Well,
okay.
I know a lot of people pass away from colon cancer, so
Yeah.
and they don't even know they have it before it's too late. So I'm just glad that that was removed, and I don't have
Yeah.
to take anything or anything like that. So they did what they needed to do. And then yesterday, so Jenny has plantar fasciitis. She's
What
had
is that? I still haven't Googled it, but
it's
something's
like
wrong with her foot.
a tendon from the ball of her foot that goes up. It goes underneath, so it goes from the heel of your foot over, and
Yeah.
it flexes when you walk. Well, hers is tight. So when every time she steps, it pulls on her heel. So they had to go in, they made about a 2-inch incision and then go in and snip some of those tendons to make her tendon be able to stretch further because it was so tight.
Wow.
So yeah, so then comes the face plant. So I was able to get her some crutches from my friend Veronica. Thank you, Veronica, for those. So I got those. And then so she's trying to learn how to use the crutches. So we get into the house and you have to go up 2 stairs. So she's like, "How do I do this? How do I get up the stairs?" And I said, "Well, what I would do is I would swing my good foot up onto the stair and then
Hmm.
pick up the crutches and move up to the next stair and then swing my good foot up to the stair and then pick up the crutches and
Hmm.
keep going." She made the first stair flawlessly. She's like, "Oh, I got this." And then she goes to the second stair and her foot, as she's swinging it up, gets caught on the stair and she's boom. And I'm just like, "You did the first one perfect."
That's funny.
And
Crutches are hard.
she just laid there and laughed, and then I helped her up. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that was the story on that, but
Yeah.
she's fine.
In sickness and in health.
Oh yeah. Well, as long as she laughed, I laughed.
Right.
But if
Oh,
she
yeah,
wasn't
that could
laughing,
have.
she wasn't laughing, I wasn't gonna laugh.
I feel
So
like the audience tunes in every episode just to make sure we're not on ex-wife number 5011, you know?
right.
But shit like this, I mean,
Yeah.
you're definitely dancing with the devil there. Should
Oh
have
man.
just,
Yeah.
thrown her over your shoulder, carried her up the steps, let her figure it
So
out later.
right. No. And then, of course, this morning I've already gone out grocery shopping, got all that because Josh is sick, the little boy right there.
Okay.
He's not doing very well, so I'm amping him up on vitamin C and, just trying to get his
Yeah.
vitamins up and got him a bunch of juice and stuff to help him out there. And then made breakfast for everybody. And then I saw your text and I was like, shit, I gotta get
I
downstairs because
know.
I was trying to eat and make sure everyone had their prescriptions and everyone was good to go before I came
Right.
down. So,
Well, yesterday was totally my fault. The night before, got a wild hair up my ass and rearranged my entire office. That means like disconnecting the internet. And then it was like so late at night that I'm like, this is tomorrow Brandon's problem. I'm out. And so I came in here early yesterday and I just started going crazy, just cleaning. And I didn't even look at the time. So it was kind of my fault. If I would have messaged Will, we would have had an episode up. But I feel like it's fine. We're fine, you guys. Everything's
we're
fine.
fine.
I want to talk a little bit about how your ego positions you to see your spouse as an enemy.
Mm.
And I think ego is, I would say, a little more obvious in men than it is in women. Would you agree to that?
Being a male, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Okay,
I would agree. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's a
I
big thing
can
to
see
agree on.
I can see both ways. I can see both ways. I think it just depends on where you are and who you are, what you've been through in your own life, and where your ego is at, and what you stand for and what you can't stand.
Right.
You
Well,
know
when
what I
you
mean?
have an ego and you're bringing that into a relationship, I want you guys to understand like you are never going to feel safe with someone that you're trying to win against. So if you do shit like you argue to dominate or to prove a point or to be right, you're creating distance on a lot of levels, like emotionally, physically, spiritually. I feel like ego has to die for you guys to have that team mindset that's going to say like we protect the connection even when we disagree.
Yeah. Yeah. I know with myself, I've, there's like a fine line between ego and selfish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know that I've lived through that in my own life and had to reflect. But I think that came with age. When I was younger, I think I was a little more high strung and things had to be my way or no way,
Right.
and everything everybody else did was wrong, you know. But I've learned the power of the pause, and to just not be so reactive and just think about what's going on at first. And then think about the consequences of what that's going to come out of this right here before I
Right.
speak.
Well, I
So,
think you're hitting it on the head, that practice the pause, because this is what's going to happen when you are in your ego and you're positioning yourself. It's, you're using language like you always, you never. That's just how
oh,
you
that's
are. That's just how I
always and
am.
never. Yeah.
You can't do that. It's ask the questions, like pause, and then it's like help me understand. Or, I feel disconnected. Or a good one for me is like, listen, what do we need right now? Right this moment. I can't fix that. I can't fix this. I'm right here. Like, what do we need right now? And this can be
Mhm.
for any fucking issue. And if you can flip flop these things, you're going to get a completely different outcome.
Yeah. We have a lot of that, those situations that even come up. Not only that we're married and we live together, but we also work together. And being the director in sales and marketing for the company, we kind of go back and forth on things. So I really have to, I've have years and over 17 years, 18 years of experience in sales and marketing and just building relationships with people and being able to learn how to communicate. Um, I think that has really helped me a lot in that whole egotistical, self-centered,
Right.
using to learn how to pause and do the one thing that salespeople need to do is listen.
Yeah.
You know, listen, acknowledge. I appreciate what you're saying,
Hmm.
but at the
But you're
same
fucking
time,
wrong.
but you're fucking wrong. And a huge saying that my wife says all the time. She says, "Well, on my side, I
Yeah.
think blah 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 blah." So
I
it's
like
what
that.
she's saying is, as well, I think blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah, and I say, well, and on my side, this is what I think,
Hmm.
and then we just kind of hear each other out, and then we're able to move on from there and really understand. The biggest thing is understanding where the other person's coming from, and the only way you can do that is shut this off
Hmm.
and listen, you know, because
And
you
not
have
with your
two people.
ego. Like you can't sit
Yeah,
there and listen and take everything personal and make it about you. You just have to fucking listen because I literally just recorded this podcast. You can't make everything about you and you can't be so fucking sensitive. Like
right,
everybody's going through stuff. You don't know, who Jenny just had meetings with in a different office. She comes out, you're the first person she sees. It's going to be different, but it's not about you. Right.
right.
Or,
Yeah,
you have a
no,
sales call that went to shit and then she's right there and you're just pissed off. It's not about her. You
right.
know, it's
Yeah.
Ben
No,
calls me,
we.
I'm fucking drowning in kids, and I'm like, what? It's not about him. I'm fucking dying. No, I would
Whoa.
never answer the phone like that with him. But I'm making the
No,
point.
we've had those. I've been the vent. You
Yeah.
know, and that goes back on a couple of our other podcasts that we have, is just sometimes we're not here to solve the issue, but just to be an ear, you know, a
Yes.
shoulder to lean on, an ear to listen to. And then once they just get it out and their frustration, whether if it's me frustrated or her frustrated or you are frustrated or Ben
Mhm.
frustrated, we get it out. It's like, okay, I feel better now that I vented.
Yeah. And I
You
think
know,
too, like kind of taking your ego taking a back seat, body language is very important here too, because this is going to reveal kind of your allegiance before your mouth even opens. So, if ladies, I'm talking to you, the eye rolls, the heavy sighs,
it's
the
just
crossed arms, the turning away, that's bullshit. Okay. And it's micro betrayals and it's going to fuck up your guy. And he may not know how to voice that. You're just going to piss him off. So, what you
crossed
have to do,
arms,
yeah, you
the
guys
the
need,
cocked out leg.
yeah, exactly. All of it, all of it. And
Talking with the hands.
so I think it's super important that even if you're uncomfortable in that situation, that you're staying present, that you are facing each other, that you have the respect of eye contact, maintain that and soften your posture. You guys, body language is everything. When's the last time you genuinely made a mental note and awareness of your body language at any given time? Because your body's either telling your person I'm with you or I'm against you. There's no middle ground there, So
Definitely tells if there's a wall
oh,
and then you've got a block.
yeah.
At that point, maybe, I don't know, would you suggest walking away and then coming back?
Giving it time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
giving it
Giving
some
it
time.
time. Hmm.
Yeah, because I don't really think that talking at the same time, you're never going to get anything through, which has happened a lot in my relationships. Two people explaining things at the same exact time. I'm not receiving, I'm only giving. You're
Hmm.
only giving, and you're not receiving either. So nothing gets solved,
Right.
you know. And
And
it's honestly,
arguments are
that's two
normal.
egos. That's two
Yeah,
egos right there. That's both
exactly.
sides. That's both
Yep.
sides of the mic.
It is exactly. Arguments are normal though, like, but if you're in this point where you feel like you're fighting for survival, that is not normal. So it's where I say, like, the overall message today is just to remind you, like, you guys are on the same team. I want conflict in your life to become something that's like problem solving, that you guys work together, not fucking combat. Okay. We're not going to war. And girls, stop with this mindset of, why are you doing this to me? I hear you bitches saying it as I'm saying this. Like, why are you doing this to me? Instead, like, reframe that and just say, not from a place of emotional immaturity, but just like solid ground. How did we get here and how do we get back together on the same page? Very simple shift.
Yeah, drop the ego.
Drop the ego.
Listen, pause before you speak.
Yeah.
You know that, and I've said that before. Is I think I ticked my old boss off because she'd ask me a question and I would listen to what she's saying
Yeah.
and come up with a formulated answer before, you know what I mean? Because I just don't want
Right.
hogwash to come out of my mouth,
Yep.
you know?
Well, another thing, and I know this has helped me a lot, is that you need to understand assumptions are silent relationship killers. So when you assume intent, like Ben would do something that hurt my feelings, and I would take it so personal because I was an ego. I would take it so personal. I would dwell on it. I would, ruminate over and over of just like all this stuff. And when it blows up, right? This is how it used to be because I assumed his intention. I made him guilty without any evidence. I assumed it was malicious, but I've learned, like, we're teammates. I have to ask the question, right? Or just even know when he does something. And you guys, we're people are going to hurt each other's feelings forever. We're all living, growing, evolving beings. It's gonna fucking happen. So now when I get my feelings hurt, it's very simple. I'm like, that dude's not trying to hurt me on purpose. Like, he's just not trying to hurt me on purpose. He does not want me to feel bad in the same way that I would never hurt him on purpose. And we both acknowledge that. So we're never assuming intent. We're just understanding. And so instead of saying shit like, why are you being like this? Why'd you say that to me? Asking simple
Why are you an
questions.
asshole right now?
Yeah,
Well, I'm
right,
not trying to be an asshole.
right,
I'm being truthful with you.
right, right.
I'm telling you it from my side and how I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
You know,
And ego wants to be right, doesn't care
yeah.
about peace. So it's about winning the argument. And yeah, you're going to feel good for about 30 seconds, but you're not going to feel good when you wake up the next day after sleeping on the couch. Like, it's not about winning. And you should always question yourself, like take massive responsibility for yourself. Am I trying to be right or am I trying to stay connected?
Yeah. What's
I'm
going to hurt more, your ego or your back?
exactly. And I feel like our audience is probably closer to our age. So we know you're going to fuck yourself up on that couch.
Whenever I sleep on the couch, it's not on purpose. I end up just falling asleep watching a movie and I wake up with a
Right.
sore neck and a sore back. And so I would have to say my back and neck would hurt more,
Yeah, for sure. It's not worth it.
you
But
know?
you guys understand, like the real enemy is not your spouse. It's not your partner. It's not them. It is shit like stress and unspoken expectations, past wounds, ego, exhaustion, fear. And when you turn towards each other instead of against each other, you stop bleeding on the person who is supposed to be your safe space.
You have to also
So,
be able to recognize it as well within
yeah,
your own self. If you don't recognize it, you need to figure out how to.
yeah,
Be able to figure out how to and recognize, hey, this is my ego. I'm going to keep arguing this till we're done,
right.
so one person walks out because they're done listening to it. Or just stop and listen, have that strength to be able to
Yeah.
be like, put your ego aside, listen to what the other person's saying. Don't talk, just listen.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't do that. They'll argue and argue and argue and argue and then bring it back up again.
Uh,
Oh my God.
it's exhausting.
Later on, they'll bring it back up again.
Always
Same
keeping
thing.
score. Always keeping score. The ego does that. The ego does that. And
Yeah.
it's genuinely, you guys, it is a discipline. When people say marriage takes work, it's not a fucking joke. And when I see people out there like, our love is so easy, we don't even have to try. Yeah, those are the ones I see divorced in like 8 years. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like it is a discipline.
Or they
When
were
you
just married for 4 months.
exactly. Exactly. But it's important when you can remember that this is discipline. It's not just like a thought you put out to the, ether. It's not a vibe. It's discipline. And if you can remember that everything changes, the way you talk, the way you look at each other, the way you fight, the way you heal, all of this is important. And like when you're inside the marriage, you're not objective. I get that. You're in it, you're activated. So like Will said, if things are heated, what do? You call a timeout before you open your mouth. If your body's hot, if you have a tight chest, if your thoughts are racy, you are not in the position to solve anything. And don't just walk away. Acknowledge this. Look, I want to talk. I need 20 minutes to calm down so I don't say any dumb shit.
Right.
I don't know how many
Well,
times
those
my
are the
husband
things
has
that
to have,
people hang on to is the dumb shit
yes,
when you're hot.
yes,
They do. I'm guilty of it.
yeah,
And I've had it done to me as well. It's gone both ways. You say something out of the heat of the moment and you're like, oh, why the hell did I say that? Well, it's because you didn't take time. You needed to calm down for a minute before you
yeah.
open your mouth and say something stupid.
And I know you guys think I can hear your ego argument here. Um, your ego thinks that if you practice Will's pause, you're losing or you're letting them win. And that's just not true.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
and
power.
here's the biggest thing is once that practice is started, and at least one side, let's say you have two ego eccentric people, butting
Yeah.
heads. You have one that starts it, like, I'm gonna be quiet and listen, you
Mhm.
know, that will be contagious. And all of a sudden you're gonna start seeing the other person doing the same thing. Hey, you know what? They actually paused and gave me that respect and let me speak. I'm going to do the same for them.
Yeah.
Of course, that's got to be in the same mindset, of course.
Right.
Because what you don't want is is that other person to be like, ooh, I've got one up on this individual. And now I
Hmm.
can start that whole control thing. You know what I mean?
And that's
So,
exactly it right there. Like,
yeah,
what are you actually trying to get right now? Say that. Like, do you want to be understood? Do you need to feel safe? Do you need to feel respected, to not feel alone? And like your brain is gonna be like, I just want them to stop. And like that's control. That's not
mm,
connection. What do you need underneath that?
yeah. Respect.
Yeah. And you
Both
guys have
sides.
exactly. You have to separate the person from the problem. Even if you have to say it out loud, like you are not my enemy. You're not my
Yeah.
enemy. So, what is the enemy? Let's talk about that. Stress, money, exhaustion, phones, in laws, resentment, unresolved grief. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever it may be. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Excuse me.
our egos are always going to think they are doing it on purpose. He's doing this on purpose. Maybe, but let me tell you this, okay? Treating them like the enemy, I guarantee there's going to be an escalation. So we can handle impact without making your spouse the villain unless you like that victim mentality. And I think that's why people get divorced.
Well,
Because once you,
unfortunately, they thrive off that.
yes,
That's where they get the most attention is is having that victim mentality.
yeah,
Poor me, poor me, poor me, over and over and over again.
yeah,
You know, it's sad, honestly.
I know.
Instead of just moving on and trying to be the best you can be, you know,
Yeah,
it's easier to be the victim and make people feel sorry for you, you know.
yep. And, you have to tell the truth without weaponizing it, right? And I think there's this script that I have used for my own sanity, whatever you want to call it, to be able to communicate. And it's when blank happens, I feel blank. And the story I tell myself is blank. And this is what I've done with my husband. It is literally like, listen, my brain goes crazy. And I heard this, that's where my brain went. I just want you to understand it because he can't control my brain, right? It's going to do what it's going to do. I, I'm not expecting you to do anything other than validate that I had these feelings and that's where my brain went, whether that was your intention or not. That's the story I tell myself, you know,
Mhm.
very
I,
simple.
I have an example of that if you'd like me
Yeah, please
to
do.
just to show that I am absolutely human and I've been through that. So I'd probably say 6 or 7 months ago, Jenny had a luncheon with a um, someone that's I think a lawyer or something like that, and it was just him and her, and I did not feel comfortable with that,
And that's why you let her fall on her face in the kitchen.
and
It
that's
was
why
that
I just like
revenge. You were
bye,
like,
see ya, bye,
boom.
Felicia. No, and I get on her side, she's thinking I've done this a million times. It's not a
Yep.
big deal to me. But for me, I felt uneasy about it. And I felt jealous. I did. I felt jealous about the whole thing. And I think the whole thing leading up to that, like she wasn't, and of course this is me, this is my ego, it's
Yeah.
like here I am thinking she's not talking to me that very much. She's getting ready. She looks like a knockout going out to this
Hmm.
lunch, and I'm like, I have to tell you something,
Hmm.
and she listened to me. I said, listen, you're going to a lunch with this lawyer guy,
Hmm.
and as innocent as it may be, and I'm sure that it is, I'm a little off taken by it a little bit, and I'm a little jealous about it.
Yeah.
I'm being protective. I don't know what I'm being. Part ego, part worried, maybe low self-esteem or whatever you want to call it. Um, and she's like, you know what? You're right. I didn't think of it that way. I'm going to call it off because that doesn't look good on my side.
Aw.
And she did. She said, I'm not going out to lunch with you. Sorry. Her marriage to me is more important than me sitting at home and worrying about what's going on, what's
Right.
being said. What is it that he's thinking in his mind, this
Hmm.
knockout girl, well, that's my opinion, is coming in to have lunch with him by himself. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I don't know. I guess I can say That's my experience. But I put my ego to the side and said, hey,
Yeah.
and I'm very uncomfortable with it. And she said, you're right. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
It wasn't a blow up. It was, I didn't talk at first, but she could tell there was something wrong
Of
because
course.
I was trying not to be that guy. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't want to
Yeah.
be that jealous person. Like she has all these business things going on outside of me,
Right.
that I don't know about. And I'm sure she's done it before and absolutely innocent to her. But, now we're married and now she's married. This is how it looks as the spouse now. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
No, I mean, I think that's great. You communicated it and you guys came to a conclusion and nobody was upset.
No, no
You
one
know,
was upset. No
that's
one
what
was
I'm
upset.
saying. That's exactly how it should go. And I feel like we should all have that same space to be able to communicate what we're feeling. And how would you have dealt with it if she would have just gone anyway?
Yeah, it would have been I would have had to get over it, I guess, but I would always be questioning. I would have had a million questions when she came back and
Right.
probably would have been annoying. So what'd you guys talk about? How was
Yeah.
he looking at you? But
What's stopping you from just going with her?
what's that?
What stops you from just going with her?
I wasn't asked.
Ah, see,
That
that
was
would make
another
me
one of
suspicious.
Now, exactly. I
Yeah.
was just, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and I explained all those things to her and she agreed with me and she thought about it and honestly just from our discussion it was very innocent on her
Yeah.
side, like I've done this a million times, what's the big deal? And then but when you're married, and now
Right.
when you do it, it's like, hey, wait a minute. It seems a little sus. It makes me
Right.
feel uncomfortable. Not that she would do anything or he would do anything, but it just made me uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
she respected it, and we move on.
And
You
that's
know,
what we would call a quick fix. Like
yeah,
that's an incredible thing. I'm sorry I did this. She stayed. She didn't want you to feel that way, obviously, and her actions backed that up.
yep, yeah. No, it
So
did.
that's a
Did.
big
So
deal.
that's a nice example, I think,
Yeah.
of how you work through that and how you confront it. Now, you can take that one of two ways. You could have done it like how I did it, or you could be a complete asshole and then just start immediately accusing, oh, what are you going to go do? Why are you meeting him? You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
could you could just start out in a huge fight and then they're just going to leave anyways because they're tired of listening to you.
Exactly.
It's all on your approach and then how you
Yeah.
talk to people.
And you're
So.
pretty much driving her to him at that point, where
Yeah,
whatever his intentions were, he's got an open door because you're a fucking dick. So,
being at lunch with this guy is a lot better than being with you right
yes,
now.
all day long,
All
you
day
know?
long. You just ruined it yourself,
Yeah.
you
And
idiot.
guys aren't dumb. Like they're fucking hunters. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to see a weakness in her. Oh my God, your husband's an asshole.
Oh,
Like,
come here. Let me
yeah,
give you a hug.
exactly.
Oh
Part of the
yeah.
plan.
I would never do that to you.
Yeah.
I would never. Come on.
Yeah.
And those are the kinds of things that goes on in your head. So I guess jealousy could be a whole other topic for next
Yeah,
week.
for sure. I
But
think
but
it's
no,
important.
that's a whole thing of, putting your ego to the side. I could have been all macho about it and been a complete dick about it, but
Yeah.
it was just something that I had thought about and it was kind of getting to me. She could read it from me, and had to explain it. Hey, this is how I'm feeling about this, and I'm kind of uncomfortable about it. And she listened, she paused, she listened to what I had to say, and she didn't go, and she agreed with me. So
I
that was
think that's
nice.
not only a great example of talking about your feelings, but you asked for what you wanted specifically. Like, I'm not
Hmm.
comfortable with you going, it's you've got to be specific. And this is even for little shit like, hey, can you put your phone down for 10 minutes and look at me? Or, even if you're in a crazy conversation, can you tell me one thing you understood from what I said? Or if you're me, I'm like, can you just hug me before we keep talking? Because I need that like grounding, right? Like
Yeah.
that's my lifeline. Um, so it's important that you guys are communicating openly and asking,
Hmm.
setting the boundaries for what you want. And you have to own your 10%. That's the
Yeah.
minimum, right? Even if they're wrong, I want you to ask yourself, like, what's my part in this? check your tone, check your timing, check your assumptions. Are you avoiding? Are you not following through? Like, check yourself always. You
Are you
know,
being sus?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. She
You
never
know,
wore that dress for me. What the fuck?
right.
You know?
Wait a minute. She never wears makeup. Why all of a sudden she's
Right.
putting lipstick on now? And why you
Right.
know what I mean? Wait a minute. What
Right.
the hell's going on here?
See, ladies, that's why you have to be like me and wear makeup every day, no matter what, because then no one questions your moves. They're just like, oh, she just does it.
That's right. That's right. Brandon always wears it.
Brandon always, she's always like that. I don't have
Yeah.
anything to worry about. No,
Right. But
I,
but no, it's that's a just an example of putting your ego off to the side and being direct, not beating around the bush, not saying things or giving key words to make your spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend to try to guess what you're thinking, and then
yeah,
you're assuming. A lot of times you're assuming the wrong thing when you do that. If you just come out and just say what it is that's on your mind, that makes
right.
things a lot easier.
Yeah.
It makes it a hell of a lot easier,
No,
you
I
know.
agree. I agree.
Because believe it or not, ladies, we are not mind readers.
Right. And
We
we're
don't know
not
what you
either.
always mean. Just say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah, on both sides of the bridge, you guys. Like
Yeah.
nobody's a freaking mind reader. If you need something, ask for it. If you want to acknowledge something, talk about it. Communication is everything. It's
Hmm.
everything. And we all have to check our pride, like identify that. Um, you know, Ben had like he'd rather be angry than admit he was hurt. He thought that's what men do, right? It's very simple. And now it's a fine line of like where I'm not going to throw it in his face, like, oh, your feelings are hurt. It's like he's pissed off. I take that responsibility to say, ooh, something I did hurt his feelings. And then I can go back to whatever moment or whatever I said, and I can be like, oh my God, yeah, that would hurt my feelings too. Wasn't my intention, right? Not my intention, but
Yeah.
his feelings are hurt, and that's an acknowledgement. It's not him like I don't ever expect him to come crawling to me crying like my feelings are so hurt. Like I wouldn't even respect him as a man at that point. So it's just ladies too about that awareness of owning your stuff and identifying your own pride, you know?
With like you and Ben, you guys have been together for who knows how long. We
We
really
don't
don't know, and
he
and, and you don't
knows. I
and you
just
don't know either.
I don't know. It's been a
It's
long
always just
time.
been him. I really don't know.
There was no life. He was
All
never allowed to
right.
have a life before me, and I never had
Right.
one before him, and that's it. It started right now. So,
Well, with you know, being together a year and a half now, we can kind of read each other's body language and kind of read each other's faces and stuff like that and understand if there's something bothering us. And it's like, but the biggest thing is asking, hey, did I say something wrong? Or if I don't even ask, say, hey, or if I do ask you, hey, is there something wrong? You just don't tell me no. Because in a guy's eyes, I'm going to leave it at that. She said no.
exactly.
But Jenny will tell me, she's like, hey, you know what? When we were talking about A, B, and C, you kind of came off this way.
Yeah.
And I got very defensive right away. And so for her telling me that, hey, when you said A, B, and C, I felt like this. I think back about the conversation and I say, oh, I didn't mean it like that. What I meant
Hmm.
was X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so to help kind of clear that up. Or if I was being an asshole, hey, you know what? Sometimes what I'm thinking up here doesn't come out right here, and I do apologize for talking to you like that.
Right.
I didn't mean it like that. It came out like that. I have a lot of one of my words is when I get really excited about things, I'm like, I just have a lot of passion right now. I'm not angry. I'm really passionate about what we're talking
Oh
about,
my gosh.
and so it gets worked out by that. But the key thing is just communication. We're not mind readers. We can read that there's something wrong, but just talk about it. Don't hold it in and just let it build up and
Yeah.
explode, you know. And of course, set that ego to the side.
Right.
Listen, shut the hell up and listen. Think
So
before you speak.
when you know she's mad, Like, you know it. You don't
Oh
go
yeah.
after it. You just ask her one time if she's like, yeah, I'm fine. Everything's fine. You walk away from that.
Um, so with my current spouse,
Hmm.
if I ask her if there's something wrong, she tells me.
Okay.
She does. She
Okay.
she has no she won't hold anything back, which I
Right.
love that about her. Like
Yeah.
it makes communication a thousand times better
Correct.
than saying nothing's wrong. Because in the past,
Yeah.
if I've asked 10 times and you keep telling me nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong.
Right.
And then if you're going to come back at me 20 minutes later and tell me everything that's wrong, like I don't want to hear it at that
Nope.
point.
You had a
You've already
chance.
told me there was nothing wrong and now you want to fight, or argue or whatever. It's like I'm taking it for your value, your face
Yeah.
value of you saying there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Just if there is something wrong, say what is on your mind. Don't
Right.
don't hold back, you know. And those that are receiving it, and if you ask the question, what's wrong, shut the hell up and listen to what's wrong.
Exactly. And don't try to defend yourself the whole time. Like, just let them say that. But I think, the situation with your wife right now and how you openly communicated with her about a situation. I think that situations like that, had she had gone and was like, Well, I understand, but I promise you I have nothing to worry about. This is important to me for whatever's going on over here, nothing to do with
Mhm.
you." And she still goes, that builds resentment in people. And I think that ends up in a relationship. If you do not communicate when you have a problem, all of a sudden, small conflicts escalate really, really fast in a marriage. Okay.
Yep.
Really fast. I mean, that fight is about the dishes, is not really about the dishes. It's about 6 months ago, you went out to lunch with someone, even though I told you I wasn't feeling right about it. So, it's those moments where you feel unseen, unappreciated, alone, and instead of naming that, you're arguing about logistics, right? Like, I'm tired of tripping
We've
over fucking toys, when really it's you're not getting the attention that you need. You haven't communicated that you need this. So I think talking and being able to respect your partner's request and anything. If Ben asked me anything, why wouldn't I respect that? If he was like, I don't want you doing this, like I'm not comfortable with that, this, and this is what I think. Why would I be like trying to bring any kind of conflict to just do it? So I think it's important that when your partner does bring up an issue, that you respect and honor it and you aren't stubborn. And
I'm sure you guys had like with your previous employer where you worked at.
yeah,
I'm sure that had some conversations, um, with the opposite sex coming in, and here's beautiful Brandon, as the
yeah,
bartender. I'm sure there could have been jealous,
yeah,
who the hell's talking to you over there, and you know what I mean.
right,
And he talks to you about it, and
yeah,
but at the same time, if you make them feel better about the whole thing, and do things like, hey, you've got my location, or hey, I'll send you a text or whatever. If I have any issues, I'll definitely let you know. You know what I
all
mean?
of
Just,
it.
all that kind of stuff, it just shows respect on
Yeah.
that
No, and
side
it
as
was
well.
huge. I'm very intentional about being super protective of my marriage. And as a
Hmm.
bartender, people have this certain idea of what it is. And I'm very super protectful or protectful. Is that even a word? I'm very protective about the honor in my marriage. Like, there is not one part of me that is going to fuck around and find out. That's it. There
Hmm.
isn't a person in there that didn't know, like, I'm married and I'm stupid obsessed with my husband, so fuck off. Like, that's not an appropriate
Right.
question for me. Um, so yeah, I set really solid boundaries. And I think that's part of the allure. People's like, God, she's a
Hmm.
bitch. You know what I mean? She's so fucking mean.
Well, that's the
Um,
big thing is you set boundaries right away,
very
and Ben
fast.
knows that,
Yeah.
and so he was comfortable with that and being
Yeah.
able to set those boundaries, and that's huge as well, and not taking or being um uh attracted to those advances and being addicted to that kind of stuff, and
Right.
and being like, ooh, I like the attention, I like this, I like that,
Yeah.
that would not go over very well. I think you'd have a complete opposite reaction if you had that kind of mindset.
Oh, he'd come in and kill everybody. There'd be no, including me. Like that's,
He would hulk out and just start throwing
yeah.
chairs and tables.
But it's absolutely like, how would I want him to treat me in this situation? Like, if my
Yeah.
husband was standing here right now and the opposite sex was across the table, like, how would I want him to respect and honor me? And it was shut every fucking thing down, even to the point of like staff. Like, some guy turned around, he was like, I had a guest do this too. One of my
Oh
guests
man.
was like, someone came in and they're like, who's that? I heard him ask him and he's like, that's my wife. And I dropped everything. I'm like, motherfucker, don't you ever say that. I don't even fucking know you. And I'm married. Like, I shut it down so fast. And one of the guys would be like, that's my work wife. Motherfucker, no. Like, that is not, I will cut you. Like, we're not even friends. Don't ever say that.
Right.
So I'm just telling you, like, integrity, I very much protect that, and I expect the same from him.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'd cut him. That's fine. I'm
You
not
heard it
afraid to
here
use a
first,
weapon.
folks. You're gonna get cut.
I will cut a bitch for that man, trust me. So yeah,
That's awesome.
it's that communication. And I think, treat people how you want to be treated. It goes back to this golden rule. Treat
Hmm.
people how you want to be treated, you know?
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I
true.
think I think practicing the pause. How do you think our listeners, how do they start right now shifting into that same team mindset? If they're like, God, I really am in my ego, what's your advice for them to kind of flip the script on that?
Well, I wouldn't pick a fight just to practice it. Just when I mean, honestly, if something was to come up, something that was of concern, um, number one, ask the question immediately. Don't just let it just sit there and fester, and then come up with, like what you said, assumptions. Assume everything, because you don't know. But I think practicing to just zip it, lock it, put it in your pocket, and listen to what your significant other has to say, your
Yeah.
partner, and digest what it is that they're saying. Think about your own actions. If you go back to he said this, well, she said this, well, he said this, well,
Hmm.
she said, you're never going to solve anything. Just shut the hell up. Listen to what the other person has to say. Come up with a
Yeah.
formulated answer, which is the truth, of course, and communicate that. You
Yep.
know, but you're asking what should you do first? Listening.
Practice listening.
Practice listening.
Zip it,
That's
lock it,
the
put it in your pocket. You could tell you guys work with kids. That's
yeah.
like
Zip
elementary
it, lock it, put it
101.
in your pocket. Hey, it
Mm-hmm.
counts for adults sometimes
Mm-hmm.
too.
Yep.
you know but yeah, I would practice listening. Don't
Yeah.
be the one just constantly having diarrhea of the mouth. Just practice listening.
Yeah. I think too, like, a lot of people struggle with being biased. Like, you're inside it. So you're not objective. You're like activated. So you're not even responding to the moment, you're reacting to like 10 years of stored information and emotion.
Hmm.
And this is why, especially as a coach, because I've coached couples before, this is why they will swear that they're being logical. And I'm like, but you guys are both triggered as fuck. Like, there's no logic here. You have to step outside of that, because especially like if you're biased, it's going to show up in that communication, interrupting. Um, and I think what Will is saying about listening is super important, but I don't want you just to listen to look like you're just listening. I want you to listen with the intention of understanding. Like, I don't want you to listen to defend. And I think a lot of you gear yourself up because you're so biased in here and you can't see outside
Put
of the
that wall
mess.
up.
Yes.
Yes.
You're listening so you could defend. You're looking for key points where you could tear them down and you can win and you can own them. I mean, I should have been a lawyer because I can argue. But what
Well,
at what at what cost?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you're preparing a rebuttal the whole time someone's talking, and they're going to know that. They're going to feel dismissed, still unheard, and you're just like compiling your problems, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah, if you're just listening to prepare a rebuttal, you're not listening.
Yeah.
You're just building your case to continue the argument, and nothing gets solved
That's the
ever.
trap. It's
It
the
is.
trap because you're so focused on being right that you have missed the whole fucking connection, winning the moment, and you're losing the relationship. And a lot of people don't realize it until the marriage is cold, and then they think it's too late. And I don't
Hmm.
think it's too late. I think anything can be saved. It's again, it's just going to take that work and it's actual discipline.
Hmm.
You know, more words isn't going to solve your problems. It's just not.
And to prove you're right, you're, is not
Yep.
going to solve your problem.
You guys
Argue and
need to be
argue and articulate.
intentional to, ask better questions and separate the person from the problem and name the real enemy. Stress, exhaustion, fear. It's never your spouse. It's not your spouse, you know? But I
Yeah.
think, a practical habit here is number one, will the practice the pause, lock it, put it in your pocket, reflect back, slow reactions and checking your assumptions. Like, is this what you meant? Can we reset? Those seem like tiny little words, but they will completely change the direction of your conversations, you know? And what I want you to remember most when, because you guys are going to have conflicts, because that's life.
It
So from
happens.
this from this show, what I want you to think about in the heat of this conflict, one sentence, like, you're not enemies. Being too close makes you biased, and it doesn't make you broken, it makes you human. That's a part of life. But marriage works when you learn to step back and you regulate and you mindfully, purposefully, and intentionally choose that teamwork over the ego, you know?
Yep. Acknowledging.
Right.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you, telling me this, putting that ego to the side. I didn't realize that I was coming off across that way. I didn't
Right.
know I was, because it's in the moment,
Yeah.
just acknowledge it, acknowledge their concern and grow from it.
And a simple I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Obviously, if I tell you something hurt my feelings, no matter how many times you're like, well, that's not how I meant it. Like, really, it's that I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That changes everything.
Yeah.
It kills me when I've done something that fucked up my husband's day. Like, I'm just like, holy shit. And it's just those words like, I'm sorry, and then
Mhm.
acknowledge it. And then you learn from your shit, you guys.
Yeah.
Stop repeating patterns. Like, learn from your shit.
Yeah. If you do the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result, that's what?
Yeah.
It's insanity.
Insanity. And that's how you get divorced 50, 11 times.
That's
Okay.
right. That's how you
Yeah,
do it.
exactly. You have to change the programming, you guys. We've trained our brains and our egos are driving the bus. And I just want you guys to take some step backs and really, I mean, that's it. That's the one thing I want you guys to take from this episode today. It's this. Your spouse is not your enemy, even when it is intense, even when you are super triggered, even when you're tired and you know that you're right. Okay. Marriages don't necessarily need more communication skills. I feel like awareness goes a long way. Awareness of tone, awareness of body language, awareness of the stories you're telling yourself when you're too close and too emotionally involved to be objective. Being on the same team is not about avoiding the conflict. It's about how to show up while you're inside of it. So next time things start to escalate, I want you to pause and ask yourself, am I protecting my ego or am I protecting my relationship? Am I trying to win or am I trying to understand? The moment you remember that you're on the same team, everything shifts. How
It
you
does.
speak, how you listen, how you repair. Any
It does.
last words of wisdom for the people today?
For the people, don't jump in an Uber with a furry.
My God, I'm so mad you guys got in that car. Like
Oh,
I am
well,
emotionally triggered.
as soon as we, I knew it would be a trigger for you. As soon as we got out of the car, Jenny grabs me by the arm. She goes, "Thank you. That was so smart of you finding that gate." And we jumping out of there.
How the fuck? I'm not going to get over it. Like I'm going to talk
Well,
about that all day and on every podcast for the next week.
Well, he was talking. We were talking. Well, Jenny asked him if there was bears, around the area because she had
Yeah,
already pet mule deer, wild mule deer. She
nice.
went up and pet wild. I have photos and videos of it,
That's
and so she was
hilarious.
asking if there was bears around, and I'm like, "Are you trying to? Is it now a life
Hmm.
goal to pet every mammal in North America?" She's like, "Maybe,"
Right.
and so he's like, "No, but we do have a lot of raccoons." And I said, "Oh, you mean trash pandas?" And he goes, "Oh." Oh, and he turns the light on in his car and he's got the pride flag with a raccoon on it. And he goes, "That's my spirit animal."
Uh, oh my God.
Don't you ever say trash panda. Never mind.
I
Thanks for the
am
ride.
I'm losing my mind right now. I'm losing my mind. There's so much I want. This is not
Oh,
the podcast, Brandon. It's not the podcast, Brandon. We're not in Kansas, Toto.
yeah,
Dude, no.
it was, you know what? I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm glad we did because if I didn't, I wouldn't have anything. I wouldn't have a story to tell, you know?
Yeah.
So just like her pet and deer. I'm like, what are you doing? Like those things can just start
That I
hooving
can
you.
get behind. I mean, come
That's
on.
cool.
Girls are gonna
Yeah.
do that. If they make a
Like,
cute, cuddly creature, why are we not allowed to pet it? Like that doesn't make
right.
any sense.
Right.
So
This is true. This
I
is
totally get
true.
that. But the trash panda, no. Like, no. I definitely would have had a lot to say, and I would have taken my lipstick out and I would have marked trash panda on the side of his car, and I would have told him to move on down the road. Like, go. That's not okay.
He had a 4.9 rating out of 5,
Yeah.
which is
Because it's
surprising.
Colorado.
Probably. Yeah.
Because it's Colorado. That's so disgusting. I'm so triggered. I love it.
It stunk in that car so bad.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, jeez.
oh my gosh. So many things are going through my mind. Listen, you guys, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. Okay. If this episode hit, Andy Frisella says it, share the show, don't be a hoe. Or don't be a hoe, share the show. However you want to say it, like just share it with someone who might need the reminder. And we will see you next time.
Oh, share the show.
Let's go, bro.
Sanders.
Uh yeah, ouch. All right, we'll see you next time. What am I saying today? Love you guys.
Peace out.